Okay, here's my first grader's workstation in my kitchen. And just as Miss Georgie and Daniel Seha suggest, we have their folder that will have their journal in it and a whiteboard and then a box, and inside the box I have my tissue to clean my whiteboard, my dark colored dry erase board marker, some crayons, 3 sharpened pencils, pencil sharpener, and an eraser. So I also wanted to show you other options in case you're unable to get to the store. So let's talk about other things that we could use. I looked around my house this morning and I found a shoe box. So I could use a shoe box instead of a plastic. Their fans could go in there. Their pencils could go in there. Their sharpener and their eraser. Their whiteboard. My little whiteboard here will even fit. I don't have a blank one, but I think that they could still use this because it's what I have. And so that's another way of them keeping their stuff so that it's all ready to go during their school time at home. Another option I was thinking is once in a while we get buckets of ice cream from Margot or Grocery Outlet. And why couldn't we use the bucket? So there's their crayons, their sharpener, their eraser, and they still have something that is theirs where they can find all of their items. So it doesn't have to be, you could get creative. You might have some plastic container in your kitchen that they could use. Another thing I wanted to say, because I don't have a blank dry erase board, and I think this would work because I have it. But they also sell these right before back to school for like 25 cents, really cheap. So if you didn't have a dry erase board and you were doing a Zoom class, the kids could just use a tablet and they could write their answer. And then they could hold it up and flip the page and put their next answer on. Hold that up. So you don't have to have a dry erase board. The kids like dry erase boards. So here's the dry erase board. So I think that this would work. And then they could erase it with their little tissue. So just options. I have 6 children of my own, so I know that money is sometimes an issue. Plus it's nice to teach the kids how to be creative. I always tell them in the computer lab, there's more than one way to do something. Everything on the computer, there's always more than one way to do it. And pretty much the same thing with life. So I also thought, this is another thing I do with my kids. For my box, I would do flashcards. And then they could practice their flashcards, and it would also be in this place that you could get to and they could practice if they're tired of the computer. So anything that the students are going to need, have it available if it's in a plastic school box, a bucket, a shoe box. Okay, so that's the first thing. So you want all of these things stacked up and ready to go during their classwork time. And you'll notice the Chromebook is there. Now we have to think about when we set up these spots for the kids to work. I usually leave my Chromebook plugged in. You don't have to, but if you are, let's think about if my child sits here, I have a cord. I want to make sure that it's plugged in where they're not going to trip. So that is the back side of my kitchen table. So to me, that would be the good spot. You see there is an outlet right here, but if I plugged it in there, they're going to be more likely to trip over the Chromebook cord. So I don't want to put it there. Another thing that you could purchase that will help is headphones. When they're doing their lesson, they could put the headphones on to listen to the lesson. It also distracts other noises, like you don't want TV going on while they're doing schoolwork time. You don't want your student to be lounged back on the couch. There's two things. First, it's not good for the Chromebook or laptop because it needs to breathe. They get warm. If they get too warm, they will stop working. And of course, we don't want that. So that's a good reason to have it on a desk, a hard table, a coffee table, kitchen table, dining room table. And also, you don't want the students to walk around with their Chromebook because that's another chance for it to be dropped or broken. If they get dropped, the screen goes dark and it will not turn on. Now, talking about Chromebooks, if you have an outlet strip, oops, sorry about my messy kitchen, that will help from power surges. So I highly recommend an outlet strip. You want to do whatever you can to prevent your Chromebook from overheating and being dropped or anything being spilt. Strict rule, absolutely no food or water next to the Chromebooks. Even with a lid. If they need to have a water bottle nearby, just like we do in the computer lab, they're going to have to place it on the floor or place it on, I actually have a little table over here, so they could place it on here. But food and water, food, water, drops, carrying, and overheating. Those are the four things that will ruin a Chromebook. And they are a couple $100s to replace. Now, when your student is not doing classwork, and if you do have a table nearby, I would suggest moving it so that you can have your table for dinner. Move your Chromebook to somewhere safe where it won't be knocked off.